Welcome to Movie Monks. My name's Nathan Rohr. I'm joined by Paul Fleck.
As always.
Yep. I'm gonna try to talk a little less, maybe. I don't know. You're gonna have to step it up, Paul. Talk more. That's
you
the
have
only
to
way.
talk less for me to talk more.
Oh, I guess so. Am I just stomping on your toes all the time, and you're just too nice about it?
Maybe. I don't know.
Man.
I kind of don't care either way. It doesn't.
All right. Just yeah, okay. Well, we'll see how it goes. I haven't seen that many films, so maybe that'll help.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just doing something quickly. But anyways, what's up?
I guess, man, all of those are gonna show up on your audio, and it's gonna be amazing.
What's that?
All those clicks and whatever. Is that a lighter or something?
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
my Zippo.
I'm just gonna leave it in, because I've been hearing that every week, and I just didn't ever talk about it. But
yeah. When I do stuff like this and write,
Mhm.
I smoke a lot.
Oh, okay. That's cool, but I wasn't sure what was happening. There was one week where I edited it all out. Longtime listeners will know.
Oh,
So.
I got a writing gig too for a site.
Oh, cool.
For some game site. I don't really want to say the name yet.
Oh, okay.
They gave me a press release for something yesterday, and I did up a news article for them, so we'll see if they take it.
All right, and I guess just personal plugs then. I'm gonna have some sort of thing about Soderbergh and Contagion in the next Beetroot. That's,
nice.
Beatroute. So,
yeah,
yep.
That's awesome.
It ended up being not as thorough and in depth as I wanted to go, but it was meant to just be kind of hey, this guy's kind of cool, right? And then also review Contagion. So
yeah, this thing was about the Crytek merging
the Homefront stuff.
Too.
Yeah.
So it was I kind of don't care, but at the same time, I'm kind of excited because Homefront could be kind of cool if it didn't suck.
It's an okay idea. That's basically
it's
Red
a really
Dawn
good
the
idea,
game, right?
But it's an even better marketing campaign they had.
Yeah.
For that, so I think if they actually put some talent behind it, I think it'd be pretty cool. So I'm kind of excited.
So we'll
Personally.
keep a lid on where that's going to be for some reason, but whatever.
Well, because I don't know what's going on yet. I have to
if
this was literally a few hours ago.
Oh, okay.
Less than 24 hours ago, I submitted it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, that may or may not hit the internet in the near future. So check that out.
Yeah, we'll see what goes on with that.
All right.
So I watched Blues Brothers.
Okay, the first one, not 2000.
The first one, no, 2000 doesn't count to me. That's not Blues Brothers. That's
Okay.
That's money. That's money coming in. That's a job.
I saw that at age 12 or 13 or something. I don't hate that movie, but I probably would if I ever saw it again. So I'm just going to pretend.
2000.
2000.
Yeah, okay.
I'm just going to pretend it's alright. I mean, John Goodman's in it.
Yeah, so in a way you kind of want it to be okay because, John Goodman.
Yeah.
But at the same time, no.
Is there a monster in it or something? Or some sort of weird alien or some sort of creature?
Yeah, I don't remember. Like I said, it doesn't exist, so I don't.
Sure, all right. Let's just talk about the first one. Big car chase
at PAX. Our friend John there, he went as Elwood.
Yep.
Yeah, that's really why I was you know what? I should watch the Blues Brothers, and I made good on that promise to myself, and I did. That's a really good movie.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in a long time, but good road movie.
It holds up really well, and there's some really kind of weird parts that I forgot were even there. I know it's kind of blasphemous to say, but I forgot the whole part with them driving through the mall.
Oh yeah, no,
was from that movie.
Yeah, that's that movie. Flipping upside down and everything, sliding around.
Some really, really good car chases.
Yep.
Which is really surprising for a movie called Blues Brothers, but yeah.
There's 40 cop cars or something.
And John Belushi, he's good stuff. I like
that guy.
Yeah,
that guy was cool.
He was cool, but
John Candy too. That guy was also cool.
And there's so many people in it, James Brown and Ray Charles and Aretha Franklin. It's crazy.
And Carrie
Fisher.
Carrie Fisher, yeah. She's all crazy, the rocket launcher.
To be fair, I'm pretty sure she's always been really crazy.
Yeah, maybe.
So she's
she
probably
has like
just,
books
like...
and stuff now. I haven't really looked into those, but I mean,
She what? Sorry.
She has like a successful career as an author, and she's going on book tours and everything. And I don't know.
What type of books does she do?
I don't really know. Don't quiz me on that. I just know those exist. Type it into the Google.
Hey, a little trivia. She was diagnosed with bipolar disorder.
Oh, okay.
So, you know what? She totally is crazy.
Yep. I didn't want to say
totally
that
fine.
because...
I dig that in women.
Okay.
Yeah, you should see my ex. Totally insane.
Alright. Crazy ex.
Yeah. Crazy. Anyways, so yeah, that still holds up. And have you ever seen the show Newsradio?
No.
Well, Newsradio is finally on Netflix. I've been looking for it forever, like on torrents, and nobody seems to have it. I'm wondering if they've even... They must have released DVDs of it. But, yeah, I've started watching that. That's a really good show. I like it quite a bit.
Dave Foley.
Stars, yeah, Dave Foley, and it has Stephen Root in there as the, like, not the main guy, the owner of the radio station, like some multi-millionaire dude that's kind of out of it, and he's pretty funny.
I have heard of this show, mainly because Phil Hartman was involved. But,
Phil Hartman is great in it. He's fantastic. I really
Andy
miss
Dick.
that guy. Andy Dick is good in it.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of pains me to say it too, but you know what?
No, I don't know. I don't personally have negative associations with Andy Dick. I have no idea what he's ever done. I just keep hearing like, "Oh man, that guy sucks" in like a bunch of news, and I'm just like, "Oh, okay. I'll take your word for it." Late night talk show host or whoever.
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't say he's the type of person that's been in a lot of stuff just because he's kind of flamboyant. I don't think he's not gay though, and he's gotten a lot of some bad critical response because of some issues he's had with drugs in the past, and he's actually a sex addict and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So he hasn't exactly been out of the spotlight, but I think he's going with that whole like any publicity is good publicity because he still gets work.
Oh, okay.
But he's kind of not funny in a lot of stuff. He's pretty good in this show, though. He's toned down enough where he's actually decent. I think this probably must have been when he was just starting or something.
Oh, okay.
Who else is in it? I'm just trying to think. Joe Rogan's in it.
I'm looking at that now.
Like a young Joe Rogan.
And I know who Vicki Lewis is mainly because she's in Godzilla and that one Seinfeld episode.
Which one?
She's like the secretary that George hires because he wants to be responsible and hire someone not super attractive, but then they have sex anyway.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I would say free, but I mean you have to pay for Netflix. But like if you have Netflix, I think it's definitely worth a watch. It's pretty good.
Okay.
It's a show I could get into, even though it's 10 years old now, 15, probably.
And like how topical is radio nowadays?
I
guess it still exists.
Well,
I just don't listen to it.
Like in a few years or whatever, say things went weird and everybody started working in a factory, how topical would The Office be, right? Like it doesn't matter the setting. Mm-hmm. It's all about like what's going on between the characters. It doesn't matter that they're in a radio station. They could be anywhere else.
Okay. So Fraser Crane, just as timely as ever.
What's that?
No, I don't know. Frasier with his radio show.
Yeah, I like Frasier.
That era. Yeah, I know. No, it's good.
Oh, okay. I was talking to somebody about Frasier, and they were like madly against it, and they just berated me the whole time about liking it.
I never like bought a season or anything, but whenever it was on, I would
never buy a season, but whenever it was on, I would watch it.
Oh yeah,
if there was
totally harmless '90s sitcom. It's pretty good.
Yeah, the only harm I think it really had is that it made it so David Spade can never play any character again because he's always Niles Crane now.
Oh, David Hyde Pierce.
David Hyde. What did I say?
You said David Spade, and I was aghast.
Yeah, no, okay.
Yeah, okay.
David Hyde Pierce, yeah.
Yeah, I do like it, David Hyde Pierce. He can be the voice of insects in movies, though. And
yes,
agreed. I guess if are they doing that Wet Hot American Summer like prequel? He'd probably be in that.
Yeah, I'm honestly not sure.
Okay, I heard that, and I thought that was kind of a great idea because they're even older now, and they're doing the prequel. So
yeah, that's kind of awesome. That's amazing.
Yeah. It's not a bad idea. I didn't even love that original movie. I think it's just because like it was a beloved cult movie, and I'm just like coming from the outside, and it's just like, yeah, it's okay. I don't really know what. All right, but whatever. It's a totally harmless movie.
So the Beatles.
What? Yeah,
You
they're
know
a
the
band.
Beatles?
Yeah, they're pretty
Do you
good.
like the Beatles?
Yeah, grew up with the Beatles. They're Sgt.
Yeah.
Pepper is probably my favorite of theirs. But yeah.
Yeah. Did you know about the controversy that came up saying that Paul McCartney died?
I thought that was like an in-joke, like a backwards part on a song, and like some of their publicity material for an album.
Right. Well, it wasn't. I don't know if that's even so much true. Like, basically, the rumor is that Paul McCartney left the studio in, I think it was 1966, in a huff, kind of, because him and Lennon never really saw eye to eye on a lot of stuff in their music. Because, as you know, like being a Beatles fan and at least hearing the different styles, McCartney did a lot of ballads and very like lovey type stuff, and Lennon was more about like
melancholy.
Not even so much, but he needed to have a message, and he needed to have it like encrypted to the point where no one would understand it, so he would be like the pretentious art guy.
Oh, so like higher-minded lyrics. And...
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
But I mean, together they did some awesome stuff. But obviously, when you're two different people doing two different things on the same song, you're going to disagree a lot. Anyways, he left the studio, and he was driving home. Apparently, it was a rainy night or whatever, and he picked up the girl. Oh my God, Rita, in a blue dress or whatever. They did a song about her. What is
Meter
it?
Maid? Lovely Rita Meter Maid?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, anyways, so he picked her up, and apparently, like, he was driving home fast in his car. I can't remember what type of car he had at the time.
Not important.
No, totally not important. And then she realized finally that, hey, like, you're Paul McCartney, and like started hugging him, and like, you know how people get when they're fans and stuff, right?
So just screaming and
yeah, and basically the thing is he ran off the road, like flipped his car or whatever, got in a terrible car crash, and like they pulled him out of the scene nearly decapitated with like one of his eyes hanging out, like his face totally screwed up.
Why is there so much detail on this thing that
I'll tell you why.
didn't happen? Like...
No, I'll tell you why. So, anyways, there was this rumor going around because a news reporter or someone said that they were following him home from the studio, which is not too, like, out of the ordinary. You know how...
For paparazzi, yeah, they follow people
exactly.
around.
They would wait around, like, someone's house or studio until they peek their head out, and then all of a sudden they would just, like, attack them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not out of the ordinary that someone might have seen this happen. Anyways, this rumor spread over to America because this all happened in Britain, and it started this huge thing where like Paul McCartney's dead, and then all of a sudden, after that, that's when all these like little clues saying that Paul was dead in the different like CD liner pictures and notes and like little hidden clues here and there in the songs and the backward masking and all that sort of thing came in.
And like,
so
it's
like
not like obviously the Beatles are pretty media savvy, saw the story and were like, haha, funny, and embraced it. Like that's what I would assume.
That's what I assume too. What I'm getting at is that there's this kind of documentary thing. It's called Paul McCartney Really Is Dead: The Last Testament of George Harrison.
Okay.
The idea behind it is that I'm trying to remember the name of the studio. I think it's like Highway 61 or whatever.
Okay.
It's, yeah, they got a tape in 2005 shortly after George Harrison died.
Mm-hmm.
Just trying to think of, like, George Harrison was attacked in his home, like, years and years ago by an assailant or whatever. In the hospital, apparently, they're saying he did this tape up that says, like, Paul McCartney actually did die.
Okay.
And, like, it describes all this stuff that, like
we had a secret casting session for his replacement.
No, absolutely. Totally.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
No, I love a dumb conspiracy theory. Like, sure, I guess, but, like, that guy who claims to be Paul McCartney is still going around being a musician, so... Like,
yeah, so, like,
Wings is a lie? Like, what is... I don't know.
No, he's not saying that's a lie. He's just saying that the Paul McCartney we know isn't the actual Paul McCartney. He's an imposter that, like, went on to take on this persona.
Okay.
And really, I mean, honestly, it doesn't matter even if that is true.
Mm-hmm.
It's just I'm always interested in stuff like that, like conspiracy theories and like these different things. So,
But
anyways,
like this one's based on such a weird beginning. Like it's like a trashy tabloid, and then there you go. And like I don't know. That's like a weird origin for this whole thing. Kind of spotty.
it's weird because like
I guess I'll watch it
because this tape apparently that George Harrison did was sent to this dude to like make a video. It's like,
Okay.
Really? This wouldn't be sent to like a museum or something? Like, you know what I mean? Something with
right.
even like the New York Times or Time Magazine.
Okay.
Like, it wouldn't be sent to like a publication. It'd be sent to this fucking nobody.
Uh-huh.
But anyways, so there's actually a website. I looked it up after, and you can view pictures of like the proof or whatever, the pictures of like the envelope that it came in, and the picture of the recorder and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, it chronologically has him go through on tape like all the different albums they did and all the different things that they hid in there, and they're running with Maxwell from MI5.
Okay.
Yeah, I like all these names and stuff.
He has a silver hammer, so
right.
watch out.
And apparently, like, yeah, they were keeping it secret. The reason why they got
Maxwell Smart, like what?
The reason why they got this imposter was because the idea was that if all these like girls and stuff, because of the Beatle craze, found out that McCartney had died, the theory was that a lot of them would take their lives.
Oh, like a Kurt Cobain
sort of
like
thing, right? Exactly.
Copycat thing.
So
yeah.
The reason why they wanted to prevent that,
but it's not like Paul committed suicide. He just accidentally died. That's just a thing that happens. So was there a wave of people killing themselves when Lennon died?
You know, I don't actually know. Because I wasn't born.
Yeah, I know, but you weren't born during any of this either. There could be a John Lennon documentary. I don't know.
You know what? I'm sure there's multiple. The reason why I watched this is because it came up on my recommended on Netflix.
Okay.
So get off my fucking back.
No, I don't know. I'm incredibly skeptical over this.
And that's totally fine.
Yeah,
it's just kind of interesting to me because, like, not because I necessarily think this is true, but, like, the way they go through things, it seems a little more than coincidental. Like, I'm sure it was totally either, like, an inside joke between them or, like, Lennon doing his own thing and, like, being like, hey, let's see how many people we can, like, trick or whatever. But there's a lot of, like, things hidden in their stuff saying that Paul is dead. Like, it is insane, and you don't realize how much there is until it's all laid out in an hour-and-a-half film.
Okay. So at the very least, it might kind of just give you a new perspective on some of those songs and whatever.
In a way, yeah. And, like, it makes it interesting for a Beatles fan because then, like, you hear the name, like, Rita, and you think of, like, Rita, right? From the song.
Right.
And then, like, you hear Maxwell, and you think of Maxwell. Like, it's kind of crazy, actually. And then there's a whole bunch of lines of lyrics and stuff that actually make it sound like he probably did die.
Mm-hmm.
It's very surreal, and there's like they have a picture of the dude that replaced him. It was Williams something or whatever from America.
Mm-hmm.
And like there's multiple pictures of him, and they're actually in circulation still, of Paul McCartney playing right-handed, even though he's always been left-handed.
You can flip a photo, but okay.
Yeah, I know, but like I don't know, just weird things, right, that get you thinking a little bit more.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I'm literally, like, is it at least handled in, like, a very not crackpotty kind of way? Because, like, I'm literally imagining a shot where it's, like, a photo of Paul McCartney as we know him now, and there's, like, narration, and it's like, what if I told you that the Paul McCartney we know today wasn't Paul McCartney at all?
No,
and then it flips to film negative, gray.
Because so far, all I've been talking about is what this film is about and has in it. I haven't described to you anything else yet.
Okay.
So this movie is hoaxy as shit.
Alright, perfect. That sounds about right.
And that is the entertaining part. Because for one thing, this tape recording is so perfectly done. Like, the balancing and everything is so perfectly done like a voiceover.
Yeah.
First of all, that's your first clue that, hey, guess what? Probably not.
Probably wasn't George Harrison.
No.
Yeah.
And, like, honestly, like, I've heard George Harrison talk in a lot of stuff. I've heard his songs multiple times.
Yeah.
He doesn't sound a lot like him. He's just a dude with a British
old
accent.
George Harrison. So. Yeah, I know. Yeah,
so
that's...
They refer to...
It is pretty sketchy.
They refer to the fake Paul McCartney as Fall. You know, fake Paul.
Oh, okay.
But, like... So, every time Harrison talks about him, he doesn't say anything but Fall. And it's so weird, because you begin to think that that's this dude's name, because he refers to him as it every time, even though it's just fake Paul.
Alright, so...
and
a fun documentary, but...
But it's weird, too, because every single thing that Harrison talks about can be found online if you go to, like, a wiki or, like, one of these fan sites about, like, the conspiracy of Paul McCartney's death.
Right.
Every single thing, like, I actually did this as I was watching it. I looked up a site on my laptop. They went point by point in order on these sites.
Well, maybe that's just because the movie's out there, so they were inspired
it's
by
possible,
the movie.
But this movie came out last year, and these sites were made in, like, 94.
So what was on those sites for all these years, if not?
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Because, like, it says, like, copyright, like, even 2005, right?
Right.
And this movie came out in 2010.
Okay.
So, like, it's obviously some dude just reading points off.
Yeah.
And then, like, referring to, instead of, like, saying, like, George or whatever, or them, he's saying us and me. So he's, like, really taking on this point of, hey, I am George Harrison, and this is my story. But, like...
Well, he would have to. Like,
yes,
if you're gonna make a lie, at
no,
least do it well.
That's totally understandable to a point, but when it starts off, they, like, give facts about the band that George Harrison would never give facts about.
Mm-hmm.
That, like, they are talking about, like, their time in Hamburg in Germany, where they started off, and then he makes a comment about where we really found our sound. Like, that's like something out of a book report, man.
Oh, okay.
The real Paul...
That's like a music
if I was
reviewer,
talking about
actual
us,
musician.
No, if I was talking about us, it's like, yeah, so we were doing some stuff on Skype or whatever, and that's where we really found our stride. Like, it's stupid because
maybe in an interview format you'd be forced to give a
in an interview format, absolutely.
Like
in a confessional,
easy answer.
No, you would never
Yeah, I know.
do that. Yeah, that's what I'm.
Like, I'm gonna blow the lid off this thing very politely.
As soon as I tell you about our background and how we knew each other.
Yeah. Okay, so big question mark on that movie, but overall you still enjoyed your time, or?
I didn't turn it off, so that has to say something because I've turned off better stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, and then, I don't know, that had me going for a while, because after I was done laughing at that, I went online and totally, like, started looking at pictures of Paul McCartney now, and, like, picturing him younger and seeing if maybe there are differences, but I mean, like, it doesn't really matter. I did a lot of reading up on him, too, and this whole thing.
Guess... I just want to... Okay, speaking of absurd pictures, have you heard the Nic Cage story? I was going to save it for news, but this is kind of a perfectly silly part. Okay. If the story is to be believed at face value, there is a gentleman who is an enthusiastic Civil War photographs collector.
Oh my god, I love where this is going. Keep going.
He just his hobby is to just go to different, like, antique shops and, like, attics and stuff and just acquire Civil War photos.
Mm-hmm.
One is now on eBay, I think it is. Asking price, I think, is $1 million.
Okay.
For this photo that is, like, apparently he found it at the back of this album, no name on it. You look at this photo, it looks like eerily perfectly exactly like Nic Cage, but like 140 years ago. So a popular theory that has popped up now is Nic Cage is obviously a vampire and is just alive, or some sort of immortal, or some such thing, because I mean it's clearly him. So yeah, have fun with that.
Wow, really?
Yeah, it's a great photo. It looks a little weird to me though, but he claims, like, no dude, I'm legit collector. You can check all my feedback and stuff. Like, I am a Civil War enthusiast. this is 100% real.
What's his name?
It's gotten way too much press. I don't know the chap's name offhand. This is just a weird thing that came up recently. So just a second.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it as we talk here, actually, because
not an important story, but just such a goofy and silly one.
It is the most important story.
Okay. I do enjoy Nicolas Cage, so the thought that he is like centuries old somehow is fantastic.
Yeah, I really like that idea. It makes me very happy. So, like, what era is this photo?
1870.
Oh, wow, that's very specific.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Hold on.
Okay. Anyways, as you're doing that, so Charlie Sheen.
Jack Mord is the antique dealer. Yeah, Charlie Sheen is now changing his tune, and he's regretful about what happened.
Yeah.
And anyways, you watched the episode, so tell me about that.
It is so bad. Like, I hate that. We've talked about it. I hate that show. But
okay.
But there were times where, like, I'd be watching with someone else because they liked it, and I'd have a few chuckles.
Sure, okay. That can happen with any show.
Ashton Kutcher is terrible. That was the worst episode of a show I have ever seen. It was so stupid.
I haven't seen it. Okay. I don't necessarily doubt you, but I read a review that was like, man, he's actually really good.
Who, Ashton Kutcher?
Yeah, he was saying he brings a different
Whoever
kind
wrote
of
that
tone.
review's a fucking idiot.
Are you sure, or are you just not a 70s show
like, seriously,
fan?
it is so bad. He's a bad actor.
Okay.
Just straight up. It's, like, I didn't find him funny. That's one thing.
Okay.
But, like, he didn't even pull off what he was trying to pull off well.
Which is what?
Well, when
like he had
a
tried
to
commit
suicide by jumping into the ocean or whatever, and he misses his girlfriend or whatever that broke up with him. But
okay, I have a question. Isn't this show a comedy? Like, it opens with a funeral for a dude killed in a train accident, and then like
no, not a train accident. He was pushed in front of a train.
Okay, so he's murdered in Paris.
Yeah.
His deadbeat cousin guy, who's like a billionaire.
Everybody at the funeral was there just to spit on his grave.
Okay.
Yeah, because one lady pipes up and says something like, "When can we see the body?" or whatever. I don't want to spit on a casket, and everyone agrees. And then he goes on to say that in the way they found him, there's not much to spit on or something like that.
Okay, is this like not horribly out of character for that show? Like,
there's more out of character things. So John Stamos, they're trying to sell Charlie's house because like no one can afford it.
John Stamos or John Cryer?
Is what?
John Cryer's like the main guy.
John
right?
Stamos is one of the people looking at the house to buy it at one point.
Oh, it's just a guest bit. Okay.
And he makes reference to him and Charlie having a three-way with some hooker on the couch or something, and how she passed out and him and Charlie kept going. So, there's one out-of-character thing. Do you remember Dharma and Greg?
No, not really.
Okay, Dharma and Greg was a terrible sitcom where, like, Dharma was a free spirit and Greg was the, like, businessman who always thought logically and blah, blah, blah. The original Odd Couple. And they had, like, a great marriage because of it or something. I can't remember. It was stupid.
All right.
They're in this show, like, later on. They're looking at the house, too. And then they start fighting and talking about divorce and stuff, so they broke the characters that, like, they were on before.
Oh.
So, like, everything about this episode was really weird. The kid, like, the half man and 2.5 men,
yeah,
was in it for about a minute, and he, like, his whole part was him farting. Yeah, like, that was his whole part, so So, this was really just not 2.5 men, it was man. Because he was the only guy left.
Ashton Kutcher, pretty much? Like, what did John Cryer do the whole time?
No, John Cryer. He was the man. Because he was the only one that was, like, in the whole thing.
Oh.
And that guy is still kind of okay. Without Charlie, he doesn't have, like, the whole... I don't know what I'm trying to say here, really. He doesn't have a good partner to, like...
Like, they have a dynamic kind of thing going, and without his other half, like, it's just like, I fall flat all the time.
Yes, exactly.
I have nothing to play off of now. Yeah, okay.
By the way, I found that Nicolas Cage photo. It is hilarious. Anyways,
Yeah.
so
Yes.
it was kind of the worst thing ever, and in a way, I was kind of glad I saw it because it was like the death of a popular show.
Mm-hmm. Despite getting the biggest ratings in that show's history.
I mean, it's obvious why everybody saw it. They wanted to see, like,
yeah, just curiosity as to how a train wreck like recovers or whatever, and it doesn't.
And it
doesn't.
Guess. And you know what?
Yeah.
I'm totally fine with that.
Expect a giant drop off next week, hopefully. But
oh my god, I am so hoping.
Yeah, this is the end of the show.
I think it would have been awesome if like Ashton Kutcher showed up and they're just like, "Hey, Charlie," and like just kept going. I think
like Charlie shows up. You mean?
Huh?
Like Sheen actually?
No, like it doesn't. No, like
like it's just like literally
like,
just replace him. Like it's just like, hey, it's Charlie, our good friend
like,
Charlie,
man, or whatever, and then like they're talking or whatever, and then the door opens and it's Ashton Kutcher. It's like, oh hey Charlie.
Like pick up where like nothing, as though nothing happened. That would have been funnier.
That would have been amazing.
Yeah. Okay.
That episode proved to me again, though, every time I've seen that show, that like anybody could write that show.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think that's one of the things that really bothers me about it more than anything.
Just how bland and like totally simple it is.
How unfunny it is. I guess I could see like why morons would find it funny, because it's like, hey, it's something I can relate to. I'm an idiot, and this show's stupid.
Wow, that's just making friends today.
You know what? I don't even care anymore.
All right, if you watch that show, fuck you.
Yeah, if you watch that show, you're a retard.
All right.
No, but seriously, like, I guess I could see what they were going for, and it kind of worked because they got like every guy into it. That's just like, hey, I'm a normal guy, and I like Charlie Sheen apparently.
I like The Arrival, so, I mean...
The Arrival's okay, but he is Gordon Freeman in that. And
I know.
Speaking of TV, that same night I watched the ending of Hell's Kitchen. Pretty happy with how that went. I was surprised about who won. Because I knew the two guys that were going to be... that were in the finals against each other were going to be there because they were the best chefs. But I did not think the other guy would win. So I was pretty happy about that, and you know what? He deserved it.
All right.
And yesterday I watched Straw Dogs.
Like the new one?
The new one. I went to the theater and saw Straw Dogs.
Why did you do that?
Because my friend wanted to see it.
Okay. All right. All right. How did you've seen the original? Obviously.
I've seen some of the original, as I said last time.
Right.
By the way, that episode never went up, did it?
What?
Did it?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, you never tweeted it.
Oh, yeah, I might not have this week. Yeah,
okay.
I'm pretty sure it's up there.
Anyways, in that episode, I had seen some of it. This movie's terrible. I really didn't like it.
Yeah, I have it. Okay, like, well, okay. Do you not like the story? Is it just poorly acted? Like, what does it do?
It's poorly acted. I didn't like Kate Bosworth and James Marsden. I didn't think they had any chemistry, especially for, like, the fact that they were supposed to.
I guess. Watching the original movie, like, their relationship is pretty icy. Like, did they do that? Or no? Like, it's not... It's
kind of, but, like... I don't know. It's hard to explain.
Watching the trailer, it basically looked like a corny
people...
and obvious version of that movie. Like, it was just
It totally is that. It's like the Idiot's Guide to Straw Dogs.
Yeah, like, no quiet, kind of weird, questionable stuff happens. It's just like, very bad things happen. He has to stop them. Go shotgun some dudes. Bear traps,
it's very bland about, like, how it does that. And
yeah.
I don't know. That's fine, I guess. Whatever. That doesn't matter to me. There's a difference between, like, icy in a relationship when two people actually still care about each other, and just, like, not having chemistry together. Like, not having screen presence enough with each other to actually give a shit about either of them.
Right. Like, you're just like, you would have never married.
He is a total pussy until the end.
Okay.
She is a total bitch. And everyone else is just a hick.
Yeah, okay.
So, like... I don't know. I didn't feel like there was any point in really seeing it. The ending was pretty cool due to, like, you know, it has
finally stuff happens.
It has the cathartic release of, like, these guys are messing with them so much, and it's like, you know what? Shit's going down now, and I'm gonna kill them.
Yeah.
And that's totally fine with me. I'm okay with that, but
Just like I can't
Man.
imagine like James Marsden could match Dustin Hoffman just
But-
any day. So that seems
No.
like a like not to put I mean like we're talking about a really fantastic actor versus like a totally okay one, but I mean James Marsden never had a chance.
No.
I don't know.
And see, I think the thing that drives me nuts, maybe I should go back, rewatch, and finish Straw Dog, like the original Straw Dogs.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this film could have been fantastic if things had been more subtle, there was more screen presence from the main characters,
Yeah.
and it was built up, like, with more finesse
Okay.
than, like, how it was. I think it was artificially built up with, like, a lot of cheap, like, looks from the one dude to the chick, and, like, just everything in it was
like you
uncomfortable.
always know what's gonna go down. And,
Right,
yeah.
like everything in it was uncomfortable, but it wasn't the uncomfortable that like slowly builds from like the situation. It's just because like, wow, that dude's really creepy.
Right.
Like he's just like a predator.
Okay. Cause yeah, I don't want to. You still haven't seen.
I guess what I'm saying is Polanski.
Yeah, yeah.
If Polanski did this film, I think it would have been a whole lot better. With the whole like slow burn, with like a nice ending. I think
he can do a good.
He would have
burn.
done that pretty fantastically, and I mean he wouldn't have cast James Marsden because he's not a retard.
Man, just all right.
No, I mean like Marsden isn't bad. He shouldn't be doing roles like this. Like Cyclops, dude, go back to that. Although
just be a supporting role in a small.
I guess you really can't, you know.
Like, don't be a leading man. You don't have it. Yeah. Although, like, watching The Box, like, he certainly has more going on for him in that movie than Cameron Diaz does.
Yeah, but we're not going to talk about Cameron Diaz because she's an idiot. Like, she's terrible.
Man, you just hate everybody today. All right.
I had a bad day.
Thoughts on Ringo? Just going back to Beatles, the worst Beatle? Thoughts?
Ringo?
Yeah.
The worst Beatle? No. The least talented one? Yes.
Okay, but lovable, so that kind of makes up
Definitely
for it.
lovable. If you were to go based on personality, I definitely think Lennon was a piece of crap.
Like, you wouldn't want to hang out with him?
Absolutely not.
Fair enough.
I would love to, like, work with him.
Mm-hmm.
I would hate to, like, have to hang out with him, though.
Yeah,
I think McCartney is kind of a dick now, and that might be because of, like, the whole, like, fame thing and probably putting up with a lot of bullshit on his way up to, like, his age now.
Yeah.
And he's at the age where, like, he just doesn't care anymore. Like, I don't have to be nice to you. I'm a Beatle. I've been knighted by the Queen, and I have a lot of money.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't need to be nice to you. But I think he was probably okay at one time.
Mm-hmm.
I still think Harrison's my favorite, mainly as, like, from a guitarist standpoint. And because, I'm not very outspoken, like, in a lot of stuff in life, and he was known as the quiet one. He would just kind of do his thing.
Yeah.
And all of his stuff has a lot of, like, feeling and soul into it, and I really like his stuff.
All right, that's a more positive note. Is that all the stuff you saw this week, or?
I'm just trying to think back quickly. Well, I mean, I watched that yesterday, Straw Dogs, so yeah, that's it.
Okay. Right after our last episode, I watched Red State.
Yes. I've been meaning to ask you, what do you think?
I didn't really like it.
Okay. That's totally understandable, but I want to know why.
Well, like you said, there aren't really any characters to care about. And I totally saw what you're saying with like the no, just I don't care about any of these cult members. Just kill all of them. Because like a lot of that movie is like
even the kids. Right?
I know a lot of that movie is like, oh, the dilemma. Like, what are we gonna do about the kids? And I was just like, I don't really care.
But it's not pulled off properly.
Yeah, like
see, that dilemma only matters
if you make lovable kids instead of like horribly brainwashed, hateful kids. And I was like, no, kids aren't inherently cool. You can have crappy kids.
Yeah.
Like as Louis C.K. pointed out, like kids can suck. These kids didn't convince me they don't, so don't really care.
And
but
that
like,
is totally, I think, in the writing though.
Yeah.
That is Smith's fault completely.
Yeah, and like I like John Goodman as a person, but like he just seemed like tired and like sickly or something. I don't know. I was like, oh
it
man,
might have
is he
something
okay?
to do with the fact that he's like a really good actor, and he was just taking like minimum wage for this because it was independently
like
done.
He wasn't necessarily throwing himself into it. Maybe, but
and honestly, his role doesn't really need it.
Yeah.
But I still think he was easily the most lovable person in this whole film.
Most sympathetic, maybe.
Easily.
I guess, yeah.
And I think that might be because he actually has interaction with his wife. Like, even
A
some
little
of the things...
bit. That was one of my biggest, like, man, this is the laziest shot scene ever. Like, the establishing shot of him is so boring. Like, it's just like, I set the camera on this dresser in his room. And all of the action in that scene plays out just like that. And I was just like, man, I thought Kevin Smith was stepping up his game.
Okay,
that
was
Kevin Smith.
A total Clerks shot, but I think I overlooked that completely because that's the only part in that whole movie where I felt there was a connection between two people.
Oh, okay.
Because, like, even the little things, like, where he, like, taps her and, like, make me coffee or whatever, or, like, do you love me? If you love me, you'll make me coffee or something.
Okay.
And then when he's on the phone with his boss...
And, like, it's the only moment of warmth between two people ever.
They're smiling at each other a little bit. Like, there's little subtle things you can do to add character, and I think those are the only two people in that whole film with any character towards each other. The rest of them were totally flat and just like, okay, he's the crazy preacher, he's the dude just following orders. So
they're the sex-crazed teenagers.
Right, and it's stupid, and that's really annoying to me.
It was the kid from Nightmare on Elm Street, though, who I still think might go on to do great things.
Which kid? The main
kid?
Kid?
The main kid, like the last kid that manages to survive.
For Red State.
Yeah. A bunch of people die. That's in the trailer. Like, that's literally in the trailer.
Yeah.
They all get captured, and guess what? Bad stuff happens.
I am a big fan of that, though. That he isn't afraid to just kill that kid off. Like, the kids die pretty quickly.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I'm a pretty big fan that he's not holding back. Like, well, this kid has to live at least until this point.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. I've always liked directors that are not afraid to kill off their characters. I guess I shouldn't say directors, writers more than anything.
Okay.
Because I don't think anybody, like,
is
expendable.
Just, like, generally, though, like, I felt kind of pointless. Like, I was just like, what is going on in this? Like, it's just like...
Absolutely.
Okay, like, they even mentioned the Phelps clan or whatever in the movie.
Yeah.
In passing, and they're just like, yeah, these guys are way crazier. So it's already not really a satire on that. It's, like, even more extreme to the point of absurdity. And it's just like, alright, they're doing crazy stuff. Someone should probably stop them. And then they kind of do that. And I did enjoy Patrick Fischler at the end, like he's one of the agents or whatever.
Yep.
Like that little banter between them was okay. Like I actually chuckled, I think, at that point.
I think we're kind of agreeing on it though, because like this movie is very kind of okay in parts, but like it's very pointless.
Yeah, pointless. I didn't think it had that much visual flair, which I mean, I don't expect him to go from 0 to 10 or something.
Flair.
Yeah, the foot chase was okay. There's a foot chase through a house, and it was alright.
That was fine.
That was like the most dynamic kind of camera moves and stuff in the entire movie. Like a lot of little bit roles and stuff that I was like, oh, I like this guy. Like,
and there's a few parts that I really liked where she has the one guy captured in her room, and she's like saying, "Hey, we need to get the kids out," and blah blah blah.
Yeah. And
like she goes on this whole spiel where it's just like, blah blah blah, the kids, and I don't agree with them either, but you know they're kids and stuff like that. And the whole time I'm just like, fuck you.
Yeah.
And then he literally is just like, fuck you and your fucking family or something like that. You're just like, yes, thank you.
I'm on this guy's team.
Yeah,
now.
I'm with this guy, and then he dies, and you're like, okay, whatever.
I guess that was spoilers, but whatever. People die.
I don't care.
Yeah, and Michael Parks like was pretty good at being crazy, but. Like, I don't know. He was in the movie more than I thought he would be based on what you said. Like, he has quite a few scenes. It's just...
Yeah, but I guess
there's not a lot of depth to his character. He is just crazy preacher guy.
No, like, he is in it a lot, but, like, you don't care.
Yeah, I know. Like, it's just like, alright,
this
guy's saying crazy stuff.
Like, listening to the podcast and stuff, I was really hyped to hear his whole, like, monologue and his sermon and stuff. Mm-hmm. Because I thought there'd be some crazy stuff in there.
Yeah.
I was pretty disappointed by that. I didn't think it was as crazy or, like, well done as he could have done.
Right, yeah.
Especially, like, when you're a writer-director, like, you have total control over what this dude's saying and how he says it.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, there's absolutely no reason why it shouldn't be fantastic.
well, like, it's only your fault if it isn't.
Exactly.
Yeah, and like, yeah, like Parks is doing his job. It's just like the dialogue and stuff is just like
For what
whatever.
I'm sure he was given, I'm sure Parks actually like knocked it completely out.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Because
But...
he delivers lines like as a crazy guy really well.
Mm-hmm.
And I would really be happy to see him do like a real director's film as like something like this.
Oh, like get a larger role in like a more versatile director's.
I think he would make a great villain.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but,
he's got bit roles in Tarantino stuff, but
I don't think this movie was like I was saying, I had a hard time like describing it because total like apologist for a lot of stuff Kevin Smith does.
Yeah.
Like I was saying before, and I'm sure you can probably agree with me now, and I'll say it again, is that his other films, Kevin Smith feels like he actually has part like of his heart into it.
Mm-hmm.
This doesn't feel like he really cared. Like it feels like maybe he was trying to do something new,
or like or it's like a thing he's minorly annoyed by, like the Westboro stuff, and then.
But by doing so, by trying to break out of like his old thing, trying something new, I think he forgot that one of the more important things with the way he does films is putting himself, like a piece of himself into it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't feel any heart in this at all. Like it felt at the end like, well, I never have to watch that again because it was kind of pointless.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the other stuff, they're stupid. They have funny parts, but like you feel something in there for like the characters at least. Like there's something that makes me come back to a Kevin Smith film. This had nothing of that. It was more of like something I was interested in seeing to see how he had changed.
Like purely as an experiment for him.
Exactly.
And
that's really too bad because I'm a huge horror fan and a Kevin Smith fan, and I felt I was kind of let down on both fronts.
Yep, I agree. Then I watched like that's all I really have. I don't know. I don't have deep thoughts about it. It wasn't a very good movie.
That's totally fine.
Whatever.
It's like you and Soderbergh. I'm just like, yeah, it was good.
That's about the right tone for a lot of people with Soderbergh, though. But whatever. Like it's like a lot of good films. Maybe not that many like great, but solid baseline.
I do
quality.
Have to agree with you with Soderbergh. At least he does like different things.
Yeah, he changes it up a lot.
That is really respectable.
Yeah, and there's like a slick professionalism to it. Like I find a hard time getting like super excited about a lot of them. If any, it's like The Informant and Out of Sight maybe are like my favorites that he's done, and like they're pretty great, but like not my favorite films ever or anything. But there's just so many films that kind of hit in that range of like, yeah, it was good. So that's still something.
Mm-hmm.
Then I watched a documentary called The Celluloid Closet, which is basically just kind of charting how homosexuality has been portrayed in film since the very beginning.
This was for your class.
This was for my class.
So how did this hold up? Any crazy rape scene that you don't want to talk about with your class?
In The Celluloid Closet? It's a documentary.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
They don't even... No, like Mysterious Skin, no.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of making fun of.
Yeah, it didn't get... No, it was super fine about it. It was just going back to, like 1899, like Thomas Edison film with two dudes dancing. Like, that is kind of questionable.
Yeah.
Like, it's a little weird. Like, in terms of, like, what... Like, it's silent, and there's no text or anything, so there's no real context for it, but they just found it interesting. Like, all the way from that up to, like, the early 90s. Because, the movie was made in 1995, so it can't get into the more recent stuff. But, like, Tom Hanks is there, interviewed about Philadelphia and stuff. Lily Tomlin narrates it. Tony Curtis talks a lot. Harvey Fierstein.
Name something he's been in.
Mrs. Doubtfire. He's the guy that makes the makeup. He's in Independence Day. Friend. Yeah, he's in Independence Day. He's like, oh crap, and then the big wave of explosions.
Oh, the dude with the scruffy voice.
Yeah, he's talking to his mom on the phone, and then a bunch of
Ma.
Yeah, he's pretty great. No, good documentary. Kind of like we did some readings and stuff about like the same subject matter, and it does kind of gloss over some things I found more interesting. Like Kenneth Anger is this experimental filmmaker, and he kind of tackled a lot of like very blunt homosexual kind of content like much earlier than a lot of people. But because it's experimental film, like not a lot of people saw it, so they don't even bother mentioning it because it's more about popular Hollywood cinema or whatever. Some great a great observation about Ben-Hur. Apparently, the writer and Stephen Boyd, the actor who played Masala, were like, "All right, we have an understanding here. Ben-Hur and Masala had they were lovers when they were young men, and now that's part of the thing driving this like big feud between them. But they would not tell Charlton Heston about that because, of course, he would flip out. So it kind of just like I've seen that movie so many times since I was like a kid and stuff, and just like that recontextualizes that movie in a really amusing way.
That's
so
awesome.
Yeah, I kind of want to see it again now because like I totally thoroughly watched that film. There's nothing left for it, but now that kind of puts this weird other twist on a bunch of scenes, and they actually show some scenes in that light, and it's just like, man, yeah, totally. These glances are super weird now. This is amazing. So yeah,
it just kind of ruins it now.
No, it just makes it like totally different, which is reinvigorates that film for me in a way. Also, they point out two different films, like one in a positive light, one in a negative one. Boys in the Band is like a 1970 film that was like pretty progressive for its time. It's like very transparent about its like gay characters and stuff, and nothing horribly bad happens to them, which is kind of a trend that was happening at the time. Like it was like, all right, if we have gay characters, they obviously are totally upset and hate themselves and commit suicide in the end, because that's the only way this should go. And it's like, come on, what? So this one's like way more positive about it. And that movie was directed by William Friedkin, who 10 years later made like one of the most hated films like in that subculture called Cruising with Al Pacino. Have you heard about this?
No.
Okay, like it's just like serial killers and like in the gay underworld and everything. It's like super seamy and treats it all like super dangerous and everything. So like, but this documentary, The Cellular Closet, like brings up both films, but does not mention the common link between them, which I found really weird. Like it was like, why aren't you pointing out that Friedkin is like the same guy who brought us this other film and this film? Like that film was protested and like censored horribly and everything. Like 40 minutes of it were cut out because it was just too on the nose, seedy and gross or whatever about the whole thing. Like it was like he actually put frames of a gay porn in it, in parts of it. And apparently there was a scene where it was just like, no, there's just hardcore gay sex happening, and Al Pacino's there, and he's like, oh, this is so horrible and disturbing. I gotta get out of here. And like, oh man, my cat was totally destroying this flyer.
Well, you know what's more disturbing?
What?
Al Pacino's totally in Jack and Jill.
What? Oh yeah, no, he is, and that movie looks really, really bad.
That broke my heart. I was just like, what are you doing, man?
Yeah. Have you seen that trailer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was on yesterday.
It's almost like a parody or something. It's so bad. But yeah, no, Cellular Closet was pretty good. I did think it kind of missed some stuff I was hoping they would talk about, but like the Ben-Hur stuff and whatever, there's some good anecdotes in there. So yeah, no, pretty good. And yesterday I watched a documentary, Werner Herzog, Cave of Forgotten Dreams.
Right, yeah. I think you and me talked about this a little bit off mic.
Oh, like just that was in town and stuff, or?
No, I don't know, but I think it was had to do because you had watched Grizzly Man.
Oh, like I have, yeah, I saw Grizzly Man Encounters at the End of the World in the recent last 6 months or something. So this is just part of.
Yeah, no, I think after you talked about that on here, I think when we were done recording, you were saying something about wanting to see Cave of Forgotten Dreams.
Right.
So.
And yeah, no, I did, and
how was it?
I did quite like it. It is totally okay. Well, that's actually not true. It's in 3D. I'm gonna say that.
I don't hate 3D.
I don't hate 3D, but I was just just amused by the idea of Werner Herzog wanting to make a 3D movie, which kind of got me through it. The first 10 minutes is some of the worst use of 3D ever. It's just like it's like it opens with an okay kind of tracking shot through this field, and then you see the like some caverns and stuff, and you're like, okay, cool, that introduces our what this is all about. But then there's like just shaky, handheld, jittery, like documentary type stuff. Like I'm walking along on these mountain trails with these researchers interviewing
in
them.
3D.
And it's like, that's totally fine, except it's in 3D, so I feel really... Yeah, it was like, my friend Ryan was like, feeling sick, and I was just like, man, this is like, I just spun around a lot or something, and I'm trying to then walk down a path on a straight line or something. Like, it is brutal.
I know that feeling. It's making me sick thinking about it.
Yeah, the first 10 minutes is like full of that. I was just like, oh man, this is... Like, I was like kind of laughing at it though, because I was just like, this is the worst. How could you do this? But then they start doing like slow pans in caves and stuff, and it's like, all right. It settles down and just starts showing you the cave paintings and stuff, and it was like, all right, this is I can deal with this now. Yeah. And like, he uses his tripod more and stuff. Like, I'm assuming that was like early in the filming process, was those first bits, and it's just like, oh, okay, I figured this out now. And it's yeah. So the 3D actually, I would say, does make the cave paintings themselves kind of interesting to look at, just because they're almost part sculpture in that they're on like kind of bumpy cave walls and whatever, and you can kind of see that texture and everything somewhat better, I guess. Like, generally speaking, this movie, it will be totally fine on DVD, and I'd probably recommend seeing it that way if you want to see it at all, just because it's totally unnecessary. No, don't bother with the 3D.
Don't spend $40 on it.
Yeah, like, it's just, there's another funny bit where it's like, he literally just has this, like, researcher guy do a spears demo, just to, like, be like, alright, what would ancient man have used to hunt? Oh, he probably would have had a spear like this, and he's, like, jabbing it at the screen, and I was like, yeah, this is so great. Like, it's the most transparent, like, 3D for 3D's sake kind of moment, and I thought it was really funny.
I'm totally okay with that.
Yeah,
when
I
you
thought
do
it was
it
great.
like that, it makes 3D perfect.
Yeah, and he's like pointing at the screen and stuff, like it would have been over there. I was like, really? And there's actually one of the best interviews in the film is with this like master perfumer. That's his job, and like he's just like wandering through a forest, like smelling. This is the first time you see him. You're just like, what is happening? I thought this was about caves, and it's just like, no. See, this guy, he's smelling for the caves. He's trying to find them. I was like, okay. And it just like interviews this guy, and his whole thing is he just like goes through forests trying to like, you know, he's really good at sense of smell, so he can distinguish like nature and vines and trees and stuff with like that ancient musty smell of like a real cavern or whatever. So that's his role in the movie. And he's just a brilliantly eccentric dude, and he just says some really funny things and just starts rambling on at parts and then just, like, stops when he realizes it. It's pretty great. There's some great kind of Herzog moments in the movie of just, like, any other director would have cut that, but you love those weird, awkward moments of humanity, so there it is. And, like, yeah, there's this super awkward researcher guy trying to show off a bone flute and stuff, and he's not a sociable kind of guy, I guess. Or he's, at the very least, like, really nervous about being on camera, and it shows, and it's really funny. But, I guess just in terms of, like, the cave paintings, it is an interesting movie in terms of, like, just thinking of time and just the vast number of years that happened between some of these cave paintings and others. Like, if, like, everything, all the dating stuff is correct, 32,000 years ago, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And just thinking about, like, just thinking about that going forward was an interesting thought exercise. Like, it's like 30,000 years from now, will there be any mark on this planet left by me at all that anyone will remember? No, I mean, if I film a 3D movie, that's not gonna matter. Like,
and that's kind of weird if you think about it, because it's a film where, like, there's, like, these markings on a cave.
Yeah.
And it's shot in 3D. Like,
well, no, it's like, but like I said, it shows the kind of weird shape of the cave a little better.
No, I'm saying, like, it's just kind of weird to show, like, this really, really old thing.
Mm-hmm.
With, like...
With our latest technology?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like it's just like Herzog wants to give as many people as possible an opportunity to see this stuff because like I
Yeah, and
will likely
it's a
never
whole
see them
experience thing
firsthand.
for him, probably. Like, hey, you're here now.
Yeah, he
You're
just
seeing what
goes
we're
on
seeing.
bizarre adventures and kind of takes us with him, and I enjoy that.
That's totally fine.
Like Encounters at the End of the World, he goes to the South Pole and such. I'm probably never going to see the South Pole, so I don't know. I do kind of appreciate what he's doing
He
with
definitely
these.
needs to go to Mars.
Yeah, if anyone is going to space and make a film there, it would definitely be him. He's made a film on every continent, so that's pretty amazing.
That is pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, like he's just an enjoyable personality, and like some of his like ponderous thoughts or whatever are just kind of weird, but they're still pretty great. And like, yeah, some of his observations about just the amount of time like we're talking about here and stuff is pretty interesting, and he does give a lot of time to just kind of look at the paintings themselves, and they're pretty sophisticated for the time. Like, there's some like contrasts and everything and whatnot going on. It's I don't know. It was stuff I hadn't really thought about, so that was pretty interesting. I do want to say though, the movie ends on the weirdest note I could even imagine, and it was hilarious and like weirdly inappropriate at the same time.
I think
And I
you'll have
thought
to
it.
tell me off camera. Or,
No, I just want to bring it up because like it was a widely publicized story about this movie.
okay.
Like minor spoiler for a documentary, but whatever. Like it's not a plot driven thing, so
Yeah.
just this happens. I knew it was going to happen, but I wasn't exactly sure how. So, if all you know at this point in time is there is a white crocodile in there somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
stop listening, I guess, and just go see it for yourself because it is such a silly moment. I'm going to get into it though because I need to talk about it because
Okay.
man.
I need to hear
So,
this.
the movie goes on for like 85 minutes or whatever of just like, hey, caves, think about those. They're really old, like getting some talking about ancient man and stuff. And it's like, oh no, cool, yeah, interesting. Then there's like, just comes up on screen postscript, and you're just like, okay, what do you got for me? And it's just like totally different like approach to everything just starts happening. Like it's just like there are nuclear power plants near this river. I was just like, oh, what?
What?
Okay. And I was just like, some of the drainage water is like, just put in these greenhouses, and you get like radioactive steam. And I was like, yeah, okay. And it's just like hundreds of crocodiles live in these greenhouses. Some of them mutants. And I was like, what?
Oh my
Shows
god.
me like a albino crocodile just swimming around. I'm just like,
What powers does he have?
no, I don't know.
X-Croc.
He's just there, and I was just like, what is happening? Why is he showing us this? And then like the way he justifies it is just like, if they should ever escape this place and wander into the caves themselves and see those paintings, what will they think? And I was just like,
Oh my
what,
god. That's
what did
amazing.
It was so funny. Like it was just like a total Bad Lieutenant, Port of Call, New Orleans, like, hey, what's this iguana doing? Kind of randomness happens, and it was so funny. And like reading about the story, like I heard the story because it was like, dude, that's not real. Like he basically staged that whole thing. Like there are albino crocodiles, but they don't live in this weird like radioactive greenhouse or anything. He just makes up this hypothetical situation and ends his film with it, and it was so bizarre.
That's the best thing I've ever heard.
It was really funny. So just because of that alone, that is my film of the week. I recommend seeing it. It's like thought-provoking, solid, kind of poetic documentary on its own,
And then
but
it
then
ends
just like
off with total...
a hilarious, like
Yeah.
just Herzog moment right there for you. It was so funny. So, cause like watching it, like I knew there was a white crocodile. I was just like, what? How is this gonna fit into this movie at all? Like none of these cave paintings have involved crocodiles in any way. Like these are all bison and like mammoths and stuff, and like bears and horses. Why would a crocodile even be in this movie? And then it's just like, yeah, no, there is no good reason. Herzog just wanted that to happen and did, and I don't know. It was entertaining. I don't know how objective, for a documentary, it seems really weird to just make up some fake business
That's
and
great.
pass it off as though it was true. But yeah, it was pretty amazing. And then I guess last thing for me was Modern Family. I started watching season 2 of that, and that show's really funny.
Yeah, that show is really good. Season 2 is pretty good too.
Yeah, it just won a ton of Emmys and stuff. So that's kind of.
Did you watch the
what I'm doing
Emmys?
now. Oh no, I don't watch the Emmys.
Yeah. Okay.
I heard John Hamm didn't win, so I was very upset. But
That is really kind of too bad.
I guess Friday Night Lights fans, maybe, they'd take issue with that. I haven't seen that show. Maybe it's great, but I just, I thought Bryan Cranston's not on the list this year, so John Hamm.
Yeah.
And then it didn't happen. I guess that's it. Any final thoughts or anything? Or
Killer Elite this weekend.
I don't know if I'm Moneyball this weekend is what I'm seeing.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. You see Moneyball, I'll try to see Killer Elite.
I'll probably see Killer Elite on like a Tuesday or something. Like it looks fun enough.
I think Tuesday
yeah.
I'm seeing Abduction. So
big Singleton fan or the Lautner?
Same friend.
Oh man.
But you know what? She gets me out to see movies I wouldn't see like ever.
So you're more diverse, more eclectic now. There you go.
Is that a diversity I want? I mean, why couldn't I just be not racist?
I
Why couldn't I just be acceptance?
But be exposed to new media and things, big budget, silly films.
I guess.
I don't know. I was kind of on board with Abduction early on in that whole thing.
I think I still kind of am. I'm not against seeing it.
Yeah, it could be okay. It has some solid people in it, like Alfred Molina and Sigourney Weaver, people I've quite enjoyed in the past. So maybe. And Boys in the Hood, man, John Singleton.
Gotta represent.
It could be.
What do you think of them doing The Lion King in 3D?
I've heard it kind of looks weird, but that movie's doing really well.
I kind of want to go see it.
I did think about man, I got Tuesday or something. Maybe I'll just go. But I don't really have that much affection for The Lion King. It's not one of my go-to Disney films of that period. It was more like Aladdin and stuff for me.
I really feel sorry for you.
What? Rescuers and Aladdin are better movies.
No.
It's just Rescuers Down Under kicks that movie all over the place, man.
That movie's pretty good, but Aladdin, no.
What,
Absolutely
dude?
not.
Just because Robin Williams is so played out now, it's still great. I can sing all those songs.
Of course not. It's not that. It's fucking Aladdin.
Dude,
seriously?
Jafar has wordplay and stuff. That's awesome. Things are unraveling quick, boy, and then he unravels him.
Okay.
That's
granted,
hilarious.
There are some good parts in it, but The Lion King's classic, man. It's Hamlet.
Yeah. It's just not, I don't know.
The worst part of The Lion King is Timon and Pumbaa.
But that's the funniest thing that movie has.
But I don't want funny.
You don't want funny? Come on.
No. If I want comedy, I'll watch Straw Dogs again.
Why was it that bad as to be hilarious?
It was stupid.
Doesn't sound funny at all. But alright. No, I don't know. If they re-release some other stuff, I'd be more inclined. I'm just thinking
to
even
fair, if
they could pull off
Aladdin in 3D, that magic carpet ride would be a ride for everybody.
That too, and I was Rescuers Down Under has that giant eagle just flying around, and it's would that animation look really good or really weird in 3D? Either way, I kind of want to see it because there's some great high-flying adventure in that. And George C. Scott, man.
Mm-hmm.
No, literally.
Yeah, no,
but,
I got it. Thanks.
It's How to Train Your Dragon or something, but way better. So
man, that was
I don't know.
movie too.
That's pretty good, yeah.
Now we're just
I don't know how 2D works in 3D though.
Now we're just babbling.
Just
wasting
weird.
time. So
Alright, so Ghostface Killer's latest album is pretty good. Finally listened to it, Apollo Kids, and with that, the monastery is closed. Thanks for joining us.
See ya
next week.